We had happened to see some of his residents, a couple of them.
Could you please rise and join us in the pledge? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Set appetizers.
Moines County Board of Supervisors, Tuesday, May 7th, 2024. Are there any changes to the tentative agenda? I have none. I have none. Sarah? Okay, we have an agenda. Meet with department heads, elected officials. Sarah Doty, Moines County Auditor.
Good morning. I requested department head letters yesterday, so if you guys could all get me your appointment letters so I can get those rolling. Other than that, just business as usual.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Colin Dirks, IT.
Good morning. Just keep busy like always. Don't really have anything new to report, so.
Thanks, Colin. Kevin Glendinning, Moines County Sheriff.
Good morning. Lots going on for us, but nothing really too important for the board. We did have our Youth Academy graduation last week, so that concluded a 10-week program, and 8 area youth participated in that, and all 8 finished. Really happy with that program, and I guess I'll say about this group, they're extremely social, talkative, outgoing. It was neat to see. That's kind of one of our goals, is just to have that level of interaction. And
What ages are they?
what's that?
What ages are they?
This group was 16 to 18.
Okay.
A couple of them starting college this fall and planning on going into criminal justice. So it's just neat to expose them to it and let them decide if maybe this is something that they want to be a part of, and also just start building those relationships for the future. So it was a neat process. Our radio project and our console project is ongoing. We're planning to maybe make that transition midsummer, probably having RagRide come through. We're kind of using that as like a time frame. We'll probably aim for right after RagRide to kind of do our switch over countywide for law enforcement communications. Other than that, our jail's at 86. We had 11 out of county, and kind of the same story, just waiting on people to move on out and keeping tabs on things. So that's about all.
How many out of county?
11 out of county this morning, plus 1 juvenile.
Kevin, don't you have a deputy that went through that academy when he was younger?
We have one now, yeah. The very first academy we
That's what I
had.
thought.
Yes, he was in our very first academy, and now he's one of our deputies.
That's great.
Yeah, it was really neat because he kind of built a relationship with Lieutenant Blodgett, and Lieutenant Blodgett was able to kind of coach him through some things and encourage him to stay in criminal justice, and then he came back and tested it, and we got to hire him. That's all I have.
Thank you, Sheriff. Jared Lasser, land use.
Morning. I really have nothing unique to report. Just been keeping busy as usual. Don't have anything on the agenda. Nothing to go over.
Thanks, Jared. Chris Lee, Conservation Director.
Oh, we got all sorts of things going on at Big Hollow yesterday, and then it rained, and so now it's all stopped.
How much rain we get?
I'm not sure. It was a pretty good soak in there, though. I was hoping it wouldn't add up to a whole lot. We could have kept on working, but we were making good progress on the campground yesterday. Me and the team were hauling dirt, trying to get the sites leveled out and everything. Our contractor is in there, starting to build those 2 sediment ponds that we're going to be building there west of the campground as well. He got started on that, and then we were also hauling some of the trees that we cut 2 years ago. We're hauling some of those out because we're going to use those for firewood. So we had all sorts of things going on yesterday. We were moving and shaking, and now it's all come to a screeching halt. So we'll wait for things to dry out, and we'll get back at it. But there's going to be lots of things going on up there, so just kind of bear with us. Once the concrete contractors get in there, there's going to be 3 campsites that we close down because we're going to be paving those. We're going to have the fishing jetty closed while we pave that. The beach isn't really open yet, but we're hoping to get it paved before we get into the big summer season. So there are going to be some occasional closures, but this county's no stranger to inconveniencing people by closing stuff, right, Brian?
Correct.
So that's just, we're kind of cranking along and and getting that stuff done. Our interns and part-time will be starting here pretty soon, so that'll be nice. We'll have a little bit better crew to keep moving this stuff forward. So, cranking away.
I heard over the radio something this morning, early, about, you got something, you're gonna teach people how to plant flowers or something around the neighborhoods and that.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But explain that a little bit to me, cause it wasn't very clear what they said.
Yeah, so we're doing, it's a pollinator program. We're partnering with Prairie Roots Landscaping. He's actually a fellow that's helped us out on a lot of different stuff. He started his own company, doing urban, like pollinator landscaping. So kind of like this pollinator garden you see on the backside of the library here up on Main Street. And so it's a program on how to establish native plantings in your yard. If you follow the Minneapolis City Council, you'll realize who the guy is, because he's done a lot of this stuff in his own yard, and it isn't your traditional. He's kind of gone all out. Sam Hollingsworth is his name, but yeah, it's just kind of rewilding the urban interface. It's not just mow grass. It's trying to inject some native habitat for the pollinators and the bees and the birds and all that kind of stuff. So it'll be a cool program to come check out for sure.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Now I'm on Quist, Moines County Treasurer.
Good morning. We're just business as usual. We did send out delinquent notices last week, so we're starting to see some of those funds roll in. Motor vehicle's been very busy, and we're working on the publication for the tax sale. So it's been busy.
Thank you, Janelle.
People still buying cars then?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They were lining out the door Friday, so yeah.
Ken Heineman, Mental Health Agency of Southeast Iowa.
Good morning. Tomorrow is all our monthly meetings, morning meeting and afternoon meeting, and an 11 o'clock meeting too. There's discussion on, some of the agenda items are discussion of aging and disability resource centers, so how the Area Agency on Aging is now gonna be serving in the future all ages, not just elderly, but all ages of people. ADRC's expansion, and so some of the things you see regions doing now, you're gonna see ADRC's doing the Medicaid services and stuff like that. So we'll see how that all, and there's a PowerPoint on it that they're gonna share tomorrow. Legislative updates is on there, annual contracts. We have a lot of annual contracts on the board meeting agenda, and memos of understanding with other regions for like our Access Center and our IRSH Home. We share some of our resources with other regions so that they can help meet some of the requirements the state's put on us. Collaborations with providers in our region is also on the agenda. So we'll have good discussion tomorrow and learn more. That's all I've got.
Thank you, Ken. Angie Vaughn, Safety.
Good morning. Keeping busy, busier than I would like, but other than that, I really don't have anything to share, so.
Thank you, Angie. Lisa Schaefer, Des Moines County Attorney.
We're always busy.
I know.
We have a jury trial going on upstairs this morning. Also wanted to make Sarah aware that the legislature did pass a $3 raise for contract attorneys with the State Public Defender's Office. So the bills will start getting a little bit higher. We are actually in at least in Southeast Iowa, a defense attorney crisis for indigent defense. We don't have enough contract attorneys doing contract work with the Public Defender's Office. And so it is starting to create a little bit of a conundrum for everyone. Because as we stay busy, we have less attorneys to handle those cases. Right now, we only have a couple, 3 attorneys in our judicial district that handle felony contract work. And they're to the point that they are so bogged down with the criminal stuff that they're stopping the juvenile work. We just have a shortage of lawyers in Southeast Iowa anyway, which makes it even more difficult to get private attorneys to do contract work, because it is less than they do it at a loss. Even at what will be $71 an hour, considering most private practitioners charge between $300 and $450 an hour. they're doing it just really out of the goodness of their heart. But we will be seeing a little bit increase in the billing for the county. But yeah, we're facing a crisis at this point. We have two particular attorneys who are so bogged down, I truly don't know how they're keeping track of themselves. They're the only two that do several different counties because we just have no defense attorneys. And that creates a problem for our office because then we have issues with the demands for speedy trial, where we may have 3 attorneys and they're the 3 attorneys signed to 12 to 15 demands that have to go that month. So it's becoming very problematic. I think the legislature recognizes that. I don't think a $3 an hour raise is gonna be, it ain't gonna help. We'll just put it that way. It's just not gonna help. We just don't have attorneys who are wanting to do this work. It's not beneficial to them. Their bottom line, like I said, if they're charging anywhere between $300 and $450 an hour, which local attorneys, that is what they charge, $71 an hour just isn't worth their time.
I don't know, way out, is there still a public defender's office?
There is, but they have been down, at least one staff member, who retired last February. That position still is not filled. I know they've had a couple of leads, so hopefully they'll get something soon. So we're down a public defender just in general, and he was one of the felony attorneys. So there were a lot of times where they were getting out of cases simply because they just didn't have manpower. And so that goes to the contract attorneys, and again, we only have a couple, 3 here in Des Moines County that do that work. And so all of a sudden, all of those cases are going to them. And there's just too much work and not enough places to put it.
Who pays for the public defender's office? Ultimately, the taxpayers, I'm sure, but I mean, is that state provided or?
The state public defender's office is part of the state public defender, out of Des Moines, and then private practitioners can contract with that office to do the work when there is a conflict, or in the case that they've had recently where they just didn't have enough manpower, they just could not do all the cases. Our public defender's office, for instance, doesn't handle some cases. They don't do simple misdemeanors, for instance. And not all simple misdemeanors are you entitled to a court-appointed counsel, but for those that are, they just don't have enough manpower to do them, so they don't do them. So those go to the private practitioners who've contracted. We do fortunately have a few more that will do misdemeanor work. But those are the cases that generally resolve themselves and don't involve, and I say generally, don't involve, they're not as complex. Where we're really struggling is with the felony cases.
So it wouldn't hurt if the state would up their reimbursement?
Pardon?
It wouldn't hurt if the state would up their reimbursement for the public defenders?
Yeah, I mean, they've been doing it incrementally, $1 or $2 every couple years. This year was a huge raise at $3. I don't see that it's going to be enough because really, again, when you compare to what people make in private practice, and we just don't have enough lawyers, of every kind. We're just, Southeast Iowa has an attorney drought. And the state of Iowa actually has an attorney drought. I was looking at a survey they did a couple of years ago where per capita for the number of licensed attorneys, Iowa was number 44. When you looked at active licensed attorneys, those that are actually practicing, we were 45th. Iowa's just struggling to keep lawyers, and it doesn't matter where you are. Even Polk County and Lynn County struggle to hire people. At the public service level, I mean, everybody is, there just aren't enough lawyers. They're all going elsewhere where the money is much, much, much greater.
Thanks, Lisa. Krista Polenmiller, Public Health.
Good morning. We're keeping busy. That public health building is looking great. If you drive by every day, it seems to change. I know there's a lot of things going on inside, and I know they put some walls up, and I'm anxious to see what that looks like. We did have a meeting with the design or the architects last week, looking at some of the furnishings, and they're doing a really nice job. I think definitely it's gonna be very nice and good for the community as far as like the waiting room and the way they have things set up, so I'm excited as it moves forward.
Good. Thank you, Krista. Brian Carter, Moines County Engineer.
Good morning. Well, as Chris alluded to, we have roads closed, and Miss Lisa and everybody else said we're busy. So, seems like it sums it all up, but Golf Course Road is making progress, although it does need to stop raining. That would be really beneficial. But contractor worked late last night, so paving contractor is hoping to do some significant paving on Wednesday, but that may be Friday now, just depending on what the rain did and everything else. But, yeah, that's coming along, and hopefully that we can get that paving in and get some cure time on it. And the residents out there that live along there have been amazingly patient, and I give them a ton of credit. They, for the amount of people that are there, they really have been patient with us, and I credit to my guys and the contractors. They worked really hard to keep them in and out, so I don't think we had anybody. I mean, I think we had somebody that couldn't get home for lunch one day, as an example, because just happened to be that's when they were pouring concrete down by 99, and they were just blocked off at the moment. But other than that, it's I think everybody is looking forward to the improvement and been very patient with us. So so that's coming along. I hesitate to say when it'll wrap up, just because every time we turn around it rains. But and we hit a real wet spot on top of the hill. I think the irony, we came all the way up the hill kind of thinking we would battle water, and most of the water there is along the edge, so we actually got along fairly good on that. We got to the top, and we hit the mother load of groundwater, so there was water running out of the ground in the middle of the road. So we took care of that with some tile and made a small change order to bring in some bigger rock. And to give you an idea, we're using macadam, which you guys know is 3-inch rock. We found a spot where we actually did a change order and brought in erosion stone, which is 6-inch rock, to stabilize it, just because we don't have time to wait for it to quit raining or for the groundwater to go away. So we went ahead and built a base with some more sizable rock, and it'll be a very stable road when we're done. So I know they worked late last night, and we'll keep on cranking, and hopefully, like I said, either Wednesday or Friday, see most of the main line hopefully get paved if things go smooth. So that work after that to get the whole thing open. Obviously, we're not on the cusp of necessarily opening, but that is good progress. For the weather, considering, I guess would be a better way to put that. Other than that, I would mention that the contractor that's doing the county dust control started yesterday, and they will run a better part of today, and then they will have the county dust control wrapped up. So this is earlier than I think ever before, and it's worked out well with kind of weather patterns and such. So it'll be good to have that. And a ton of other stuff going on, like I said, behind the scenes, and a ton of credit to my office, because they're making it all happen, and happen pretty smoothly. As I get closer to those bridges coming up, I will let you guys have a better idea. We did send out letters. Probably won't get any calls, because I know most of the residents in that area, but up there around that bridge on the north end of 99 that we will close late this month or early next. It's hard to believe it's May, to be honest with you. I have to keep thinking what month it is, but we do have a gravel detour up there, so we sent letters out just to let people know that we will be putting down dust control. That won't get done till later this month, when the contractor comes back, which should be just fine. But we did some letters out to there, and sometime this summer, I guess this is not in our county, but it will have an impact on folks. Sometime after the 4th of July, the DOT, of course, their DOT's contractor is working on the far north segment of the 61 4-lane project. So the far north segment starts at the Mediapolis Road bypass and takes off and heads up to Newport Junction, to give you an idea of where that is. Because if you don't go that way, you just don't see it happening. And most of it's quite a bit off alignment. So if you go through there and you're not paying attention, it's not going to be real obvious like it is down here. But anyway, sometime after 4th of July, they're gonna close, the K Road, which is if you turn right at Casey's, if you're not a local, when you get up there, that road's gonna close for somewhere around a month and a half to 2 months, I guess, which is apparently also right in the middle of our bridge closure on 99. So that'll really jack up some people's methods for getting around. But ours will be closed first, so. Again, as Chris alluded to, we close roads. So that'll make for a mess up there, but life will go on, and everybody will adjust accordingly. But a lot of stuff going on, a lot of construction and moving along, and otherwise, we're doing well.
Well, we've got the savings on the other end. Because the more roads you close, the fewer roads the sheriff has to patrol, and
Yeah.
saving all kinds of money.
Yeah, exactly, that's what we're here for.
The bridge closure on 99 actually helps us out for Ragbri, because Ragbri is gonna go down
It will cut
Minneapolis
traffic.
Road and turn south on 99, but the bridge right to the north is gonna be shut down, so we're anticipating not even have to provide traffic control at that right-hand turn, just because.
Should be a lot less traffic there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, up there, it's a lot of locals, and once they adjust, they're not gonna use gravel if they can avoid it, they'll go over to 61, a different way probably.
Trucking into Oakville with both K Road and 99 closed, that's gonna be
It's a
interesting.
different animal, it's unfortunate timing on their part,
Yeah.
so, I didn't have any idea about it, to be honest with you, I just found it out secondhand. Yeah, Joe?
When you go down to Goose Creek there, you know, north of Minneapolis through the curve down there.
Yeah,
That's what they're doing up on the hill, that's why all that equipment's sitting there.
that's exactly what it is, so
Okay.
that's why I'm saying it's kind of out of sight, out of mind,
Yeah.
because it's way off alignment through that area, they ran into, well, I don't think they said it officially, but I think they had some archaeological issues in that area, it's a very archaeologically sensitive area, even though it's supposed to be top secret, so yeah, it's clear off over to the east, you can't even, if you're not paying attention, you'll drive right through there and not see anything, other than the contractor does have a work area right alongside the road when you get down to that dip there. And on a side note, that Goose Creek, I think it's the Goose Creek Bridge, the DOT actually will replace that bridge after they're done with the 4-lane and they move traffic over, because we take over that segment of road right there. They'll actually replace that bridge on their own dime before we have to replace it, so. That was part of our negotiations way back when, even though we haven't signed any paperwork.
My dad used to take me out there where they're up on the hill there where they're doing that then, and we'd go out there and pick gooseberries,
Oh,
do a gooseberry pie.
so, and I also reached out, you guys won't hear about this either, I don't anticipate, but, so there's some of the segments that we still have to take over that are already not being used, they're alongside the highway, they're dead end segments, you guys have all been out there, I've showed them to you, but the DOT hasn't finished their closeout paperwork project, so until they get their project completely closed out, they can't transfer those to us for maintenance and such, so they're still DOT roads. There's a gentleman or two out there that have, plenty of property, however, it has plenty of crap strewn about it, so they have started spewing out their crap onto county right away, or what is now state right away. So rather than, cause the day's coming where I was prepared to send a letter and get the stuff out of there, I contacted the DOT, and they're going to hopefully pursue it, is my request, so that we can get that habit, which is a bad habit, stopped, so.
They were out there this week. The problem is that the vehicles the registration's up to date, so they're technically legally parked, but they don't move. So other than marking it as no parking, they're not considered an abandoned vehicle yet. If they're not drivable, if they have a flat tire, if registration's out of date, then we can do things with them. But technically, they're just parking on the roadside, which is legal parking, unless it creates a hazard, so.
Well, this will be an area that when I do finally get around to writing the no parking stuff we've talked about, having that show up has actually influenced when we write that. We're gonna write it to take care of this problem, whether it's parking regular or not. So, cause it's just not acceptable to have that stuff on the shoulder of the road. it doesn't look good, actually, to be honest with you, much less it's a safety hazard. And in this spot, it's kind of a dead end, but it's still a hazard, so it kind of shed some more light on something I wanna get worked out with Kevin and figure out how we can write it and Lisa and cover some more areas than we were originally kind of anticipating. So, try to give Kevin maybe some teeth to deal with things a little easier than just what the code allows. Plenty of stuff going on.
Thank you, Brian.
Sounds like they're making more work for you, Lisa, so. you should be concerned.
Hopefully not. Hopefully when it lands on her desk, it's fairly simple.
That screams Trent.
It doesn't. I already knew what she was gonna say. I should have just said Trent.
Although Trent's been pretty busy too, covering some of the stuff for our missing attorneys.
Either of you gentlemen have any correspondence?
I have none.
I did have one. Dave Brown, 115th Street. He's got, since the storm, he's got sticks on the road, so you wanna handle that on your way
Well,
back?
last time it rained, he had water on the road too. So we will take a look at it.
Just make sure you let him for me, Brian.
Yeah, got a lot of concerns.
Okay. Proceed to discussion and vote. We have accounts payable claims in the amount of $1,045,337.41.
Move to approve.
Second.
Sarah?
Jim Carrey,
Yes.
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Tom Broker.
Yes. We have a number of personnel actions. We have two for conservation. We have Trenton Gebhardt, a conservation intern. The new hire, the new rate is $16.50 an hour. And we have Bryce Wade, a part-time conservation tech, a new hire up to 29 hours a week at $17 an hour.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Sarah?
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Jim Carrey,
Yes.
Tom Broker.
Yeah.
Are these two guys doing the same thing? Part-time, okay.
So the one's a permanent, part-time, the one's an intern. And the intern's back, I think this is his third or fourth year back.
Yeah.
Here we have two for the sheriff's office. We have Clay Foster, deputy, a 74.77 hour deputy. I've been here a long time and I still can't get my head around it.
That's the 6 and 3, 6 days on, 3 days off.
Anyway, anniversary increase, his previous rate was $53,826.17. The new rate is $57,190.28. And we have Brett Haubrick, deputy, 74.77 hour deputy, anniversary increase. Previous rate was $53,826.17. The new rate is $57,190.28.
Move to approve both of them.
Second.
Sarah?
Jim Carrey,
Yes.
Shane McCampbell.
Yes.
Tom Broker.
Yes. And we have one personnel action for the correctional center. Caitlin Davis, a part-time kitchen cook. New wages are $16.58 an hour. The previous rate was $14.58 an hour.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Sarah?
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Jim Carrey,
Yes.
Tom Broker.
Yes.
I would add on that she's been one of our primary part-time cooks. Really appreciate her work, but as we work to hire a second cook, we've just been unable to find anybody. So we're upping that wage, it's all within our budget, and with upping the hiring wage, we need to up her wage as well to retain her, so.
Understood. Okay, and we have reports. We have the recorder's monthly report of fees collected for April 2024. This report will be on file in the auditor's office and available for public review at your convenience. We have minutes for the regular meeting of April 30th, 2024.
Motion to approve minutes?
Second?
Sarah?
Shane McCampbell.
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes.
Tom Brogan.
Yes. Any other business? I have none. Future agenda items. Committee reports.
I didn't have any. All I did was went out and signed checks to regional planning.
Yeah, I miss Chris, but I do want to thank Chris DePogamiller for doing the walkthrough on Friday. Appreciate that. We do have somebody that's looking at the health department, or the health building. And also, I just want to give a shout out to Sarah Marie and Colin for helping me. Thank you.
Thanks. I have no committee reports. Public input. If anybody from the public would like to address the board, make a comment or have a question, you can email the Board of Supervisors at board@dmcounty.com. That's BOARD@dmcounty.com. Or you can call 319-753-8203 extension 4. That's 319-753-8203 extension 4. We'll give you a couple minutes to initiate that email or that call. In the meantime, is there anybody in attendance that has any comments or questions?
Tracy?
That's not a supervisor, Lisa.
That's supposed to be you. You got.
I have nothing to say, but thanks for asking.
I don't know that I ever told you this yet, but one of our motor graders that was getting rebuilt is down there. And in the process, they end up with a time slot earlier than we expected. I think they picked it up like 3 or 4 weeks ago. So it's been gone for a little while. It's about a 9 to 10 week process, so.
Where do they do it, in Missouri?
Yeah, I wanna say around the Handle area, but I'd have to double check that. So, just so you know, I'm hoping to arrange a time to go down there at some point with you guys, but haven't had time to chase that at the moment, but that's coming along.
Boy, it's awful quiet out there. My morning started off real good, I gotta tell you this. I used my coffee pot, I use them little pods. Man, I was real smart. Went out, pushed it, and started it, went out to get it. I reached there and there wasn't a cup, but there was coffee all over the counter. Has anybody else done that?
Nobody's gonna admit it.
You are a reporter, aren't you? You can smell.
Nobody's gonna sick.
No, you
Not
know.
that.
A lot of coffee.
I did that, so. 2 minutes are up, Tom.
With an aye, we're adjourned.
Aye.
We're adjourned.
And then your trash was knocked over this morning too.
You what?
Your trash was knocked over this morning too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
You just kinda had one of those days.
It started out that way, didn't it?